a character.
Can I have everybody to sing, please? We have Charlene Lima, the Deputy Speaker. She is pro-gun, is pro-gun. I can testify to that.
All right, get out of my
We're at the
way.
range at least once a week. She's a better shot than I am. Let me tell you, it's scary. It's scary. Anyway, Charlene Lima.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone, for coming out here today. Good afternoon, all you staunch Second Amendment defenders and fierce fighters for our constitutional rights and freedom. Unlike the other side, I am not here to use horrible deaths of our precious children as a political tool to push for their personal agenda. I won't stoop to that level, because their personal agendas do nothing to ensure the safety of our children in schools across our state and our country. I'm here today to stand and fight for the future safety of our school children by demanding that our political leaders stop bloviating about school safety and fortify our schools now. If you want school safety, then make the schools safe now. For 20 years, I've been submitting legislation to put in metal detectors in school. The same metal detectors that protect us in the State House, in the courtrooms, in the airports, Disneyland, concerts, you know. They're all over the place. Only by the grace of God has Rhode Island children been spared the horrible fate of the Texas and other states' children. If you want school safety, make schools safe now. If you ask grieving parents of any child killed in a school or on the streets in Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore, or other progressive defund the police states, if they care more about what type of weapon was used to kill their child, or why the child's school or public street was not secure enough to prevent the death of a child by any weapon, we all know what that answer would be. If you want the schools safe, if you want school safety, make the schools safe now. The question is not what type of weapon was used to assault our children, but why government leaders have been so inept, uncaring, and negligent to fortify our schools that any children had to die at all. We have the money. We have money for things. Our children are very important. We need to protect them. And the only way we can protect them is by fortifying the school. The common sense and most effective answer to keeping our children safe in our schools is to make our schools as secure as possible. And today, with the technology that we have, we can bring that to unbelievable degrees. All that's needed is the will to do it and to end the political bloviating where personal political agendas are more important than actual results. The safety of our children is too important to leave to the uninformed who don't have a clue as to how to really protect our children. Let the defenders of the Second Amendment and our rights and our freedoms show them how to do it. You know how to secure the schools. We know what to do. What happens when, God forbid, a new school assault occurs and the damage was done with a handgun or a sword or a baseball bat? Again, the question will not be what weapons were used to commit the atrocities, but why wasn't our schools secure enough to prevent any weapon from harming our kids? If you want school safety, and make the schools safe now. And the reason I keep saying that, I want them to listen. And sometimes in this building, you have to keep repeating things to get the message out. Defenders of the Second Amendment, unite. Together we'll bring about real change right now that's needed to truly protect our children. Thank you all for being up here today. As an elected official, I will tell you, it's very important that you're here to protect our constitutional rights. You are sending a message, and you did it by sacrificing your time. Every single person here, thank you, it's very important. In fact, give yourselves a round of applause.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. We also have Senator De La Cruz.
Guys, I used to be one of the yellow shirts. I still am. I'm not wearing it in the chamber, but I used to come and visit the State House before I ran for office. And I know what it takes to come out here, to take time out of work, to make sure you have a babysitter, to be here. As Rep. Lugo said, it is absolutely critical that you come here. It does not go unnoticed by leadership. I want to encourage you, because when I ran for office, I just say I'm just a nobody. I'm a regular person. I'm nobody special. I'm just a Rhode Islander, but I felt the need to run because a culmination of events that ended up with me not getting my concealed carry and having to take my case to the Rhode Island Supreme Court. But I'm going to tell you, this is going to keep happening year after year. Your rights will continue to be eroded year after year unless there are consequences. And the consequence needs to be that these individuals who continue to curtail your rights do not become reelected. We need you to run for office. Now, if you can't do it because of your job, or you can't do it because I'm not talking to you. You can help out candidates by sharing their content on Facebook, by canvassing with them. But for those of you who can, talk to me. Especially if you want to run for Senate, I would love to chat with you. Nothing is going to change in the State House unless we have more people run for office. So please, keep up the emails, keep up the phone calls. Coming to the State House is all helpful. It really is. But also, if you can run for office, I'm telling you, I'm just a regular person. If I can do it, you can do it. Love you guys.
Thank you, Senator. One thing I'd like to touch upon is when it comes to the election. So we have a primary. So my representative is Joe Solomon. If he has an opponent, because he's pro-gun, he's my guy, I'll go in and I'll do the Democratic primary and vote for his race, because the progressive is trying to knock him out. So I'll bounce in between Democrat and Republican primary depending on what's going on in the race at that time. So I want you to think about that sometimes when you have a pro-gun Democrat or a pro-gun Republican, and the Republican has an opponent, or the Democrat has an opponent, go into each Democrat or Republican party and vote in the primary. The primary is probably our least low numbers on showing as far as a community. So we need to ramp that up. So if somebody is a Democrat or a Republican and they're on our side and they have a primary, you gotta get in. You gotta go to the primary and you gotta vote. The independent, depending on the race and depending on where they are. Independents, they don't have primaries. Independent goes the full length of the race. So you can't, there's no primary for independent. So. Right, so when you go in to vote, Like right now, I'm always an independent. Depending on how the race goes, like I said, if it's Joe Solomon, he's my rep. Now I'll go in, I'll vote for the Democrat, and what I'll do is I'll disaffiliate right there, right after I vote. Then I'm back to being an independent. Then when you go to the general election, you vote, you know, who you want to vote for, Democrat, Republican, or whatever the cause is. All right, so I want you to think about that. We really need a lot of people to come out in the primaries, because the primaries are an issue. We have to protect our people that are for us in our primary races.
Michael, we gotta get them to take the chip out of the back of the DS-200 so they don't forge the election like they've been doing right along. We gotta make sure they're legit in that area too.
You want me to get into chips and technology, really?
That's what you should do. I know it's there. I'm not as talented as you, but it's there.
All right, so our next speaker is going to be John Lugo. He said Gene, it's his fault. It's okay. He's running for Lieutenant Governor. Welcome.
Thank you all. Nearly 2 days after the news broke out regarding the shooting in Uvalde, Texas, many Senate and House Democrats immediately took advantage of the horrific tragedies and pushed for their agenda. Instead of paying respect to the families of the loved ones, they demonize people who think differently than they do. These politicians are pushing for unconstitutional bills attempting to block next year's budget proposal, are standing on a soapbox using dead children as an emotional tool. These politicians are also including anyone in opposition that doesn't seem to care enough of the dead kids, implicating that if you don't care about the kids' love, then you have to agree with them on policy. We need to have a rational discussion about balancing the rights of our citizens and the pros and cons about different policies. Demonizing people from the other side as far as being unfeeling does not give you the moral high ground. They are acting in the same manner as they did in defunding the police movement. It was wrong then and it was wrong now. It is not a gun issue, as a gun has no will of its own, Jeff Cooper. It's a culture problem. Stricter gun laws will not solve the issues, as there are instances of people driving into a parade, killing multiple people without a gun. States like Chicago and New York have stricter gun laws, yet have more shooting. According to the Crime Prevention Research Center, gun-free zones are a target of 98% of mass shootings and are considered soft targets. Instead of getting rid of our SROs, school resource officers, we need to put them back in there. We are spending $53 billion on Ukraine, and we can't even afford to secure our schools. Let's not punish law-abiding citizens who didn't break the law. Let's focus on the families and objectively look for ways to save more lives in the future. As the Lieutenant Governor, I will use my experiences in the office to advocate for better solutions. I would also like to state, as a police officer, 4 minutes it takes for me to respond to any call on average. By then, most of you will be dead. It takes one individual, one citizen with a firearm to have a chance to survive. We can't pass these laws. We can't give them an inch. We have given them an inch already, and they just keep going and going. We need to take our laws back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. So let's talk about running. Who's ready to run for a seat? Come on, give me some hands. Don't be shy.
There you go.
I know you're already in a seat. You're already in a seat.
I'm still running again.
That's awesome. Anyway, so not only do we need people to run, we need people to support the people that are running. Whether it's financial, whether it is you can give a Saturday and walk his district and hang tags on the doors. Get the word out. Go and talk to your family members in the district. Try and build what's going on explain to them, educate them. Half the time when you talk to people nowadays, everybody's living their own lives, and I respect that. Everybody has to run their own lives, but the thing is you have to pay attention now. We can't afford just to go to work, come home, put on channel 6 or 12 and get the nonsense for the day that's chosen that they want to put out. We need to really start paying attention to what's going on in our neighborhoods, in our schools, in our country, in our General Assembly. When I started here in 2013, Frank Sposio and I was sitting there with amazement. I couldn't believe what was going on in this building. There's a lot of great people in this building. A lot of great people that are common sense, that want to run the state the correct way. And then you have the other people, some progressives that just want to give the money away, take your rights away. And like I said earlier, the whole time we've been here, we've asked for school security. Since 2013, after Sandy Hook, the General Assembly has done nothing for school security. On top of that, the moms against gun violence, the moms that demand action, do you ever hear them talk about school security? No. They want gun-free zones, but they don't want school security. Do you ever hear them talk about all the gangbangers in Providence shooting everybody? How they should have tougher sentences when they get caught with a firearm. The Attorney General drops the firearm charge, lets them plead out. 6 months later, he's on another gun charge. He knows that charge is going to go away because the Attorney General does not want to bring it to trial. So that's what the progressives want, but they have no interest in securing the schools. They have no interest in making sure that our children are safe. So I want you to think about that. I want you to pass the word. They're up here for abortion rights. They want to kill babies, and then they turn around and they want your schools wide open so they can have a home mass shooting in the state of Rhode Island. And I'm not joking. They have no plans as far as wanting to secure the schools. That's up to us. We have to make a change come September, and we have to make our voices heard, and we got to take some seats. Sure, sir. What's your name? Ed. Your last name, Ed. Ed DeMayo. You're famous. Yeah, I've heard of you. Ed DeMayo, everybody.
Good afternoon. I just like to put in the mix of the everybody, the woman who bake cakes and everything. You gotta have all the ingredients. Now, whatever you believe is fine. But if you don't put the spiritual end in this great country that is a beacon to the world, because God allowed us to be the greatest country on earth, we are a beacon to the world, and we have to stay strong in the Constitution, God and country. And if you let me, I would like to just sing How Great Thou Art for you right now, okay? Oh my God, when I'm in awesome wonder, consider all the world's thy hands have made. I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy glory, the universe displays. Everybody knows the bridge, ready? And sing my soul, my Savior God, to thee. You gotta pray for our great country, because the devil is trying to steal our great country. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Listen, we got a show for you today. We also have Paul Pence. He's running for Lieutenant Governor also. He's going to say a few words.
Okay, how's this? Should I use my background voice.
It's going to be this. So, hi, I'm Paul Pence. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. But I'm not here running for Lieutenant Governor. I'm here as one of you. I am a gun owner. I believe in the Second Amendment, and I believe that it's critical for the future of our nation, of our republic, of our government, of the people, for people, and by the people, that we stay armed. My grandmother, a teeny tiny little woman, was armed every day of her life after she divorced the awful man that she had married. Unfortunately, I still have to call my grandfather. Because he was armed, he stayed away. He was always in doubt about whether or not she would use that gun on him. We need concealed carry rights for all of our people, so the bad elements of this world stay away from all of us, not just the armed, all of us, because they don't know whether or not we are armed. And we as citizens need to be armed, so our government thinks the same way. They won't infringe our rights as long as they have in doubt, are they armed or not. So please, do what you can, run for office, fill every vacant seat. If somebody's already there that you like, do everything you can to support him. Definitely get out and vote, but it can't be done without your participation. Being here is only part of the thing. So make sure, run for office. We need you. Thank you very much. My name is Paul Pence, running for Lieutenant Governor.
All right, next we have Paul Rihanna, who's running for governor as an independent. Woo! Come on, let's hear it.
Come on, let's hear it, everybody. Clap for yourself for coming out here and doing this big show. First off, I want to say I appreciate everyone coming out and supporting this. This is a big cause. The Second Amendment is huge, but we also got to protect the First Amendment. We're going to protect the rights of every amendment that we have, because our freedoms are being taken away every day. Look what happened to the nurses and CNAs. Lost their jobs due to a vaccine mandate. It's sad, it's horrible, there's staffing shortages out there. The patients are getting the worst care you can see. And we need to stand together and unite and fight for our freedoms. Second Amendment is important, First Amendment is important. June 25th at 4 p.m., we're having the Freedom March out here. I want to see all yellow shirts, because we're fighting for everything. Whether it be our freedom of speech, our right to bear arms, everything. We need to be out there. We know what's best for our kids. So we should be able to protect our kids, whether that be from CRT, whether that be from protecting our kids from criminals or mass shootings. We know what's best for our kids. We can protect our kids, and that's what we need to do. My name is Paul Rihanna, independent candidate for governor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Paul. Frank, you got any words? We go, Price Cocho.
Hello everyone, thank you very much for coming out tonight. Everybody here should know who their senator and their representative is. A lot of people I talk to, I ask, who's your senator? Who's your representative? A lot of people that actually don't know. You need to take the time to find out who those people are, and you need to be a pain in the neck to them and call them every day, call their office, tell them you don't like what's going on, and you don't want your gun rights being restricted. That's something you can do. Very simple, doesn't cost anything, but it lets your senator or rep know that you're here, you vote, and you're not happy with what they're trying to do. For those of the people that are here, that are retired, that have extra time, you really need to think about running for office. It's not as difficult as you think it is. It actually is doable. If you look back at some of the last races in Rhode Island, some of the most horrible progressives that we've gotten got in office because no one ran. They didn't have opponents. They put their names on the ballot and magically, now they're at the State House taking away your gun rights. You need to make sure, do some research, put a little bit of effort in, and if somebody is a terrible progressive, you don't like them, run for office. Ask your friends, your neighbors. Put your name on the ballot. You just might win and take out somebody who's horrible and make a difference in Rhode Island. You're all here today doing something. That's what you need to do. Take the time, get informed, and if you can't run for office, become a pain in the neck to these representatives and these senators that are trying to take your gun rights away. A phone call doesn't take a lot of time, but it's great when a senator goes into their office or a Republican or a representative goes into their office and they have 300 phone calls from angry constituents. They pay attention to that. Make sure you become a pain in the neck to them. Tell them you're not happy about this. This way we can secure our firearm rights. Thank you very much for showing up tonight.
All right, question of the night. Let's be honest. Raise your hand if you know who your senator or rep is. Be honest. Excellent. If you don't be ashamed. I'm not trying to shame anybody, but I want you to go to RhodeIsland.gov or go to the Secretary of State. You put in your address, your zip code, it'll tell you who's your senator, who's your rep, who's your town council person, who's your congressman, and who's your senator for the Fed side. And yeah, we need to get rid of them too. So look it up. You can also go to the Federated Sportsmen's Club webpage or our page, Rhode Island Second Amendment Coalition. There's an info on our page. Enter your email. Send us a message. Get on our email list. Give us an email saying, hey, I know somebody that might run. All you got to do. A little bit of homework. Like Frank says, it only takes a couple minutes on the phone, a couple minutes on the email, and do as much as you can. Anyway, great turnout. Rep, you want to say anything? You sure? I talked them into it. Rep Justin Price.
Big guy, twisted my arm. You know, it's just great to see everybody out here, and I love it. But sorry, let me get to. How's that? Great to see everybody out here. So we got some bipartisan legislation that's going to go in on Tuesday to deal with this the school stuff, but that's kind of beside the point. I'm going to ask everybody to do something for me, and I want to see if we can make this rotunda rock. And let's say something. How about if we say something like Rhode Island, Second Amendment, or what do you think? What do you think?
Shall not be infringed. Secure our schools.
Secure our schools. All right? On the count of... What's that?
Gun save lives.
Gun save lives. Secure our schools. How about this? On the count of three, secure our schools, all right? And let's see if we can make this rotunda just roll and rock, all right? So, secure our schools on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Secure our schools!
One more time.
Secure our schools!
Again!
Secure our schools!
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, thanks.
Tuesday, it's going in.
It's got legislation on putting an RSO in every school. Great piece of legislation. These are all people that are working hard for us. Don't let that be forgotten. It's not all progressives up here. We got people that are up here, but we're losing ground, and we need to get wins in the elections. All right? Anybody have any questions? Let's take some questions since we're all here today. Nobody? Nobody has any questions? Everybody's happy? I'm not happy. You're scary. This is my new bodyguard, by the way. Is she beautiful? Here comes Senator Elaine Morgan. I don't know if she wants to touch upon anything. You want to speak again?
Why not?
There's a new crowd in town. New sheriff.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome. Thank you all for coming out on this beautiful afternoon. Again, I'm going to repeat. A lot of people couldn't hear because you can't hear way up there, can you? Can you hear up there? Okay, good. Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, we need you here for the next 3 weeks because those ladies with those red shirts are here. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 3 to 6. Showing, standing in front of our chambers and greeting the senators as they come in, being up in the galleries. We need you, or we're going to lose this battle. They're taking it inch by inch. They're encroaching slowly but surely, and a lot of pro-Second Amendment legislators are turning because they're here and we're not. You're not. We need you here. So, what else? Running. We need people to run. Declaration is the end of this month. Please, even if it's a Democrat that you think is not progressive, but they're not voting for our Second Amendment rights. Let me tell you right now, they're turning. So we need people to run. This is the year to do it. This should be a Republican year, even though it is a Democratic state. This is a Republican year across the country. And look at our economy. Look at China. China's on our doorsteps, guys. Who's going to fight them? Our military are being depleted. They're sending our military over to Asian countries right now. We need to be ready and active. It's not about hunting. It's all about sport also, but it's about our rights and our freedoms to stay free. And we need to stay free, guys. And you're the people girls and guys, we need to do this. Step up to the plate and run. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I don't see any other senators arrested I can wrangle in. Wait a minute. Amy, the representative behind you, can you ask him to come down? Amy, the representative behind you, can you ask him to come down? Listen, these people came out for you, my friend. You need to come down and say a few words. All right, here we go. Representative, I had to drag him down, kicking and screaming out. This Representative David Place, great guy. We have great conversations. He's always in the mix. Him and I are always fighting against a couple of people in judiciary when I testify and he asks questions. It's always good banter back and forth. Really appreciate what you do and judge. And again, this is David Place, our representative out of Barville.
Hey guys, thanks for everybody for coming down here tonight. All right. The only thing I'm going to keep plugging away at is you're here. Where's your friends? Where are your neighbors? Where are your fellow gun club members? All right, because they're not here. I can tell you right now, there are fewer people in this room than there are members of Wallen Lake right now. right? How many gun shop owners are in this building right now? If you own a gun shop, raise your hand in this room. How many owners are in here? All right? Where are they? Where are your fellow gun shop owners? Because you're the ones, your livelihood goes away. These bills pass, your livelihood goes away. I don't understand why the rest of maybe they're your competitors, but right now they're your allies. Where are they? Why aren't they here right now? Where's everybody else? You can be pissed off at the people that work in this building, but the people you need to be more pissed off are the people at your gun clubs that are never here. All right? Where are those guys and gals that are standing around complaining every Saturday and Sunday at the range about what happens in this building, but they're not here right now? All right? We lose our rights because we stay quiet. You guys are here fighting right now, but we're your friends, we're your neighbors, we're your fellow club members. Talk to them. Point the fingers at them right now. They need to be here. They need to be supporting pro-Second Amendment candidates. You guys are doing your part. Get to them. Where are they? Because there's no silent majority. They need to be here and visit. They can't count on you. Don't count on somebody else to protect your individual rights. Get them down here. Get them writing. Get them calling their representatives and senators. If that happens, things can change. But until that happens, hopefully we'll be back here next year. Hopefully. But bring that message back to your clubs. If someone's sitting there complaining about what happens in this building and you've never seen them in here, just point the finger at them and tell them to go after themselves. Because it's their fault. It's their fault we're in this position right now. So remind them of that every chance you get. You were here. You were doing your part. Where were they? And that's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. All right, so how many people here belong to a gun club? Okay. 6 months ago, we had a president's meeting with the Federated. Federated called, asked all the presidents in the club to come in. I gave them all a memory stick. On that memory stick was a voter roll. So that means that they could go on the computer and they could check one of theirs, like O'Neill. They could search my name and would tell you whether I voted in the last 5 elections. If I voted in the primary. If I'm not on the voter roll, that means I'm not registered to vote. So what I'd like you to do is go back to your clubs, and this is a good example of why Representative David Place had mentioned that. If we go to the voter rolls in our own clubs, and we find out who's voting and who's not voting, we need to call them out on the carpet. Because when I get a phone call, how can we let this happen? Who's we? There's only like 20 of us up here all the time. There's only 25 of us that are fighting. You guys coming out are great, but the gun clubs have to get more involved. He's right. We really have to get more active as a community. And believe me, for 10 years we've been dragging, kicking and screaming, and people don't want to come out, but you have to. So you guys are here. I appreciate it. Go home and shake the tree on the clubs. Okay? Ask your president about this memory stick that they got and how they made out with their vote rolls, because I haven't heard any but crickets, no phone calls, no status, no anything. So we really need to start taking our members and start shaming them into seeing if they vote, they're registered or not. What do you want to say? No singing, we don't have time to sing. No singing, that's just, you don't have to sing.
I just like to say the gun clubs and the guns are fine, but in reality, 9/11 happened. Russia's not going to give up. If they do EMC, the electronic thing over our grid, we're going to need to protect our homes. I'm not saying forget about gun clubs and sport, but we're going to need to protect our homes. And don't think an invasion can't happen with who we have in office that's giving the store away to illegals and all the wrong things. So if the power goes up in this country, we're going to have to know each other and help each other with weapons.
All right, thank you. All right, so everybody has a little bit of homework, right? You're gonna go home and find out who your senator or rep is. You're gonna contact them, right? I gotta yell, yes, Michael, I'm gonna go find out who my senator or rep is.
Yes, Michael, we're gonna go find out.
All right, great, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir. All right, also, I want you, if you belong to a club, I want you to call your club president and ask that question. Have him get in touch with me. I want to know what's going on. I want to know who's voting. I don't want to know their names. I don't want a list of who the people who aren't voting. That's all your personal club information. What I want to know is you guys are actively in your clubs asking your members why they're not voting or why they're not registered to vote. Because that happens quite a bit, believe it or not. So we need to activate everybody. We really need to put our foot down. And we really need to stand together. We're going to survive. We're going to stay together. If we stay together, we'll survive. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate you all. You all have a good night.